All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, it's time to go over the purple cards for OP10. So we've already gone over the leaders. We've gone over red, green, and blue. Now we're on purple. Tomorrow will be black, and then the next day will be yellow. All right, just give you guys a heads up of what you're going to be getting into on the channel over the next few days. Now, real quick, I'll have all those linked in the comment section below if you've not already seen them. And I will eventually turn all of it into its own playlist if you need to send it to new players and things like that to get caught up on the new cards. Also, I know a lot of people don't really care for these kind of videos, the review, the card review. It's almost like a spoiler style video. But bear with me, guys, because we do need to go over these cards because we're going to start seeing them pop up in the East. Some cards we're already seeing pop up in the East. I should say it like that because they're in OP10. On top of that, we're going to start seeing, not only are we going to see the results from the East come in, but these cards will be available on the sim before you know it. Okay, so we do have to stay ahead of it, stay on top of our game, stay ahead of the curve, and all that good stuff. Okay, guys? All right. Now, one more thing I want to say is, you know what you're getting into in this video. We're going to be going over all the purple cards for OP10. However, at the end of this video, I will have a single game of purple yellow pudding versus Blurple Croc. Okay, make sure not to miss that. If you like purple yellow pudding, that should be a lot of fun. Now, I will have everything timestamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links in the comment section below as well. All right, let's do this, guys. You know what you're getting into. Let's do this. So first up, we have Violet. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1k counter blocker. And it does have an on-KO effect of Dawn -1. If your leader has the Don Quixote Pirates type, add up to 1 purple event from your trash to your hand. So that is annoyingly specific. Your leader must be Don Quixote Pirates, so you can't play this in any other type of leader. And then on top of that, you can only add a purple event from your trash to your hand. I really wish you could have thrown this in like green-purple Doffy. Now, one thing I do want to say is, before we go any further on this, before we even get to rating the card, is you do have to understand how Bandai typically works. Like, not 100%, but this is kind of the general pattern that I've noticed, is each color in each new set has its own type that it mainly covers, and then a few other random cards in between. So, for example, in OP10, red, we saw a lot of Punk Hazard support. In green, we saw a lot of Odyssey support. In blue, we saw a lot of Dressrosa support. And it looks like in purple, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of Don Quixote Pirate support. I have seen some of the cards already, of course, so I think that is going to be the general theme, and that would make sense going with a new red-purple sugar, considering a lot of the red cards, like I said, were already dedicated to Punk Hazard in this set, so I would expect the purple cards to be Don Quixote Pirates. So I do understand where this card is coming from. It's clearly meant to be run in sugar, and I mean, okay, hang on. It can be run in green-purple Doffy as well, but you can't get back your green events, which is very annoying. Because of that, I'm only going to give this card a 6 out of 10 because it is so specific. Now, we do have to think of some good purple events we can get back from the trash. At least the events can be anything that's purple. It doesn't have to be any specific cost, and it also doesn't have to be any specific type. Your leader has to be Don Quixote Pirates type, and the event has to be purple. That's it. So, in fact, I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10 because this is potentially replacing itself as soon as it comes into play, and the effect of Dawn -1 on KO is really not that bad. Or it's not replacing itself when it comes into play. Sorry about that, guys. It potentially replaces itself on KO, and the Dawn -1 effect with this leader is not that bad. Now, if you don't know what this leader does, make sure you check out my other video. I'll have a link in the comment section below where I went over all the leaders. Okay, so let's keep going. I'll give it a 6 or a 6.5 out of 10. Next up, we have Vinsmoke Sanji. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter character with Kingdom of Germa and Vinsmoke family. The effect is on play. If your leader type includes Germa, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 card with a type including Germa and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is phrased with the quotations, reveal up to 1 card with a type including Germa. So this isn't like a standard search where how do I say this? Where you're looking for Germa in brackets, where it's a specific type. It has a type including Germa in quotations. So I think this card can actually search itself up. Someone correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it can. Really cool art. Let's just call it for what, let's call it what it is. The art is really cool on this. Great palette there with all those reds and yellows and pinks in his hair that transition into the cape flying in the air, showing the speed of Sanji. Really, really cool stuff there. Love the art for this. Especially, you can see, notice on his hand, okay, there's like a glare on my hand from the screen, but notice like all the veins and all the detail put into this hand with the contouring of the hand just looks so incredible. Really, really beautiful art piece. But back to the card itself, I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. I give all searchers somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7.5 out of 10. Unless they're extremely good, I'll give them higher than that. Or if they're way worse, I'll give it lower than that. I think this is just a solid 7 out of 10. And I'm pretty sure it can replace itself, which is good as well. I think, so the deck you're going to want to run this in, the only deck you can run it in currently that we're aware of, we'll see what happens in the future, is Reiju. Because Reiju is the only leader that, again, that I'm aware of that has Germa as its leader type. So, or, if your leader type includes Germa. Let me say it in the correct way. Very, very technical. But this, I think this card's going to be pretty decent in the Blurple Reiju deck, the Vinsmoke Reiju deck, the Germa 66 deck, whatever you want to call it. And I think they'll probably run this as maybe like a 2 or a 3 of. I don't know if this will be a full-on 4 of. Who knows? Maybe it will be, because it is an easy card to just counter out with once you have your stage, and you could use it. I believe you can use this to search up the stage. If I remember by the end of the video, we'll look it up when we're looking up the purple yellow pudding deck for today's video. But really good stuff. Otherwise, this is a solid card. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Okay. Next up, we have Clone Soldier. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter blocker, Kingdom of Germa. Kingdom of Germa. So notice what I was saying here with the types. Whenever it has the quotes like that, and it says a type including whatever's in quotations. So even though this card is not a Germa type, it is a type that includes Germa. It has the word in there, even though it's a Kingdom of Germa card. Whenever it's looking for a specific type, it will have like these winged brackets. It's hard to explain. They're like winged brackets, not the square brackets like you see around blocker. Okay, and by the way, and speaking of that, typically whenever it is a specific name it's looking for, it will have a bracket. So notice this card does not say reveal up to one card other than Vinsmoke Sanji. It can actually, I'm pretty sure this card can search up itself as well. So very powerful, potentially very powerful searcher there. Now back to this card, I'll give this just a 6 out of 10. It is just a high utility 2-cost blocker. 1k counter, searchable in the deck that it would go in. You can't ask for much more, like for what it's doing. 6 out of 10, this card's completely fine. It's not busted either, though. Next up is Sugar. This is a 1-cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter, Don Quixote Pirates type character. And it has Activate Main. You may rest one of your Dawn cards and this character. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to one Don Quixote Pirates type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is just your Jory Bonnie styles, 1-cost searcher, pay 1, tap, search. Top 5 can grab any Don Quixote Pirates type card. The color doesn't matter. The name doesn't matter. This is a solid 7.5 out of 10. Excellent searcher that can also be used again next turn if they don't remove it. They'll probably remove it, but still very, very powerful. Okay, so what I say, 7.5 out of 10. Okay, next up is Giolla. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter, Don Quixote Pirates type. The effect is on your opponent's attack. Okay, on your opponent's attack, once per turn, you may rest 2 of your Dawn cards and rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Guys, that is very solid, actually. Wow, that's nice, actually. Okay, so like in green-purple Doffy, so think about what it needs. You do need 2 active Dawn cards on your opponent's turn to use this effect. Hang on. Does it rest itself? It says, on your opponent's attack, once per turn, you may rest 2 of your Dawn cards and then rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. This seems like it is a card geared towards dealing with blue Doffy. And any card, any deck that's running 4-cost characters, which is probably, every deck has to have a 4-cost character in there somewhere, right? At least most decks. I don't know. I'm sure there's some deck out there that might not. But guys, this seems like a very good effect. Very solid. Big fan of this one. This is a great utility 2k counter. I'm actually going to give this like an 8 out of 10. Usually 2k counters I start at 7 out of 10 and go up from there depending on how good it is. Because a 2k counter is always a good 2k counter in hand. And in the appropriate deck, it's usually searchable, right? Well, this is a searchable 2K counter, but it also has an effect. If you see this early on, you're actually going to want to play this, which is very abnormal for a 2K counter, right? Most 2K counters you don't want to play. You want to hang on to them and only use them if you have to. This card, I think you just want to play right away on turn 2, or on your 2-Dawn turn, or potentially your 3-Dawn turn if you had to go first. And I will say this right away, this effect here, this is so nice, you know, because yes, they can always tap it and KO it and remove it. It is what it is in that situation. You know, use this card wisely. I wouldn't use it against black. I would use it against a deck that has very limited removal. But guys, this card is just solid. Like, I don't really see a downside to it. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's not crazy with like some busted on play effect, but it's still a very high utility 2K counter. Big fan. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Next up is Senor Pink, 5 cost, 6,000 power. It is a Don Quixote Pirates type with an effect of on play Dawn -1. Add up to 1 purple event with a cost of 5 or less from your trash to your hand. Then set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active. So, didn't this say, all right, up to 1 purple event from your trash to your hand? So this purple event thing, they're really trying to stick it to purple only, which is very annoying to me. It's fine, but it's still very annoying to me. This one is at least not leader locked, so you can potentially run this in any purple deck that, you know, any deck that's running purple. You can go on play Dawn -1, add up to 1 purple event with the cost of 5 less from your trash to your hand, and then set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active. So in that case, he'll kind of work as a 4-cost 6K, but you do have to return one of those Dawn cards. So not too bad. Really not too bad. I would give this card probably like a 6.5 out of 10, but it has an upside. You know, if it's in the right deck, this probably could be like a 7.5 out of 10, where you just slam this thing down. Because I'm thinking green, purple, Doflamingo. Now, it is limited to purple events only, and when we get to the end of the video, when we go over the purple, yellow pudding deck, I'll try to remember to, I'm already thinking of like that card. I think it's Ragnaroku or something like that. This card could be pretty interesting in like a purple-black Animal Kingdom Pirates deck, guys. I'll probably mess around with this deck in the future, or this card in a deck in the future, because I could see this in an Animal Kingdom Pirates deck or something along those lines. Could be very interesting. But anyway, I can definitely see this in green, purple, Doffy, because you're going to stand 2 Dawn active at the end of your turn every single turn. So guess what? You're going to be able to rest stuff down and all that good stuff. Yeah, I think this is a pretty solid card. I don't know what to give it, though. Like, I kind of want to give it like a 7 out of 10. Because I don't think it's crazy. It does not have a counter. It's not busted. I'll probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's a little better than what I'd give an average card with some potentially very high upside. Very cool effect here. Big fan of this art as well. Look at him with the suit on, looking all dapper, looking absolutely incredible. Okay, love the glasses, the hair slicked back. See, now this is a really cool looking Senor Pink. You know, I've seen other versions where he's not so cool looking anymore. Okay, like this one. Yeah, like this one right here. Not a huge fan of this compared to what we're seeing right here. This looks awesome, but hey, I'm sure it has something to do with the story. I don't need to hear about it. I know. In fact, I know a little bit about it. I think it has something to do with some kind of tragedy, but we're not. I don't really want to go down that path right now. Okay. Plus, I don't want to spoil it, guys. That's all. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously. All right. Next up, we have Diamante. This is a 5 cost, 7,000 power, 1K counter vanilla. I give all vanillas a 5 out of 10. Fighting Fish. This is a 4 cost, 6,000 power, Animal Dressrosa type character. Animal Dressrosa. Interesting. Purple Dressrosa. The effect is Dawn ×1 when attacking Dawn -1. KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. I'm just not in love with that. You know, you're having to attach a Dawn -1, KO a 1 or less. I'm not a huge fan, guys. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just not. I really don't think it's that great. Maybe if you're running this in like a future purple-black Dressrosa deck or something like that. Who knows if something like that exists in the future. I have no idea. But generally speaking, I'm not a huge fan of this card. I'm going to give this like just a 5 out of 10. Because I think most people would rather have a 4 cost 6K, 1K counter vanilla over this card, because you're losing a counter for something that will probably never generate enough value unless you're building it into black, like I said, where you have Ice Ages and now you're having to combo yourself just to get the intended effect. 5 out of 10. Okay, next up we have Trebol. Trebol is a 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1K counter, Don Quixote Pirates type with a blocker, and it has an on play all of your characters with 1,000 base power or less cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. So just by the effects, not by battle. So maybe this will be really good with like green-purple Doffy, where you can protect your sugar, maybe? I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think this card's bad. It does have potential upside. Like maybe you just haven't used your searcher yet. Where did the searcher go? Like maybe you have this searcher on the field and you didn't want to use it yet. You want to use it next turn, but you think it's going to get removed. It's like, okay, well maybe you'll, keep it active. So here we go. Okay, so here's an idea. Let me say it like this. So say you play out that searcher on turn 1 and pass on a 2-Dawn turn, and then your opponent can't remove it on turn, on their 3-Dawn turn. Let's just pretend they don't have Brook. In this situation, let's pretend they don't have Brook. So say they can't remove it on their 3-Dawn turn. Well, then maybe we can follow up with this Trebol, and it's still protected, and we have a blocker, and we can attack with our leader, and all that good stuff. Maybe there's some application there. But you guys tell me what y'all think. Is there something I'm missing? Is there like a really powerful effect I don't know about? Maybe we'll come across something in these cards we're reviewing today. But overall, I'm just going to give this guy like a 5 out of 10. He's at least a blocker. Actually, I'll give him a 6 out of 10 because he's a blocker. He's already a 4-cost 5K with a 1K counter add blocker. So 6 out of 10 baseline with some potential upside. Okay, next up is Don Quixote do Flamingo. Very cool looking art here. Very menacing. That purple and pink actually goes really crazy in this one. So this is an 8-cost, 9,000 power, 7 Warlords of the Sea, Don Quixote Pirates type character. It has on play Don -1. Play up to 1 Don Quixote Pirates type character card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. And he has on your opponent's attack once per turn. You may rest one of your Dawn cards and add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So you're going to be able to stand up Dawn, you're going to be able to rest 1 Dawn card to ramp a Dawn card on your opponent's attack once per turn with this character. Very, very strong. Yeah, I'm actually a huge fan of this card. I think this is a very, very powerful card, and I think this is something green-purple Doffy really, really needed. Now, I know it can already cheat out like the 5-cost Diamante and probably a few other good cards, but let's see. We'll keep our eyes open and see if we can see anything else that it can cheat out from this set, because I do think there's a Rosinante from this set that it can cheat out as well. But overall, judging this card in a vacuum, which is how I like to say it, trying to judge this card for what it is with no other cards in mind, yeah, this card is really solid, and it's an 8-cost 9K. We've seen what that stat line can do before. We've seen how Gecko Moria is, and this cheats out a body. I'm not saying it's the same as Gecko Moria. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it has an 8-cost 9,000 power body, which is extremely hard to deal with, and it has a on-play effect and then a recurring effect every single, once per turn, every turn on your opponent's attack to generate more Dawn and to fix Dawn and things like that within the color of purple. Huge fan of this. I'm going to give this card like an 8 out of 10. I think this is a really good card, maybe even an 8.5 out of 10, especially if it can cheat out some really strong 5-cost characters that are Don Quixote Pirates type. Okay, there's the alt art. Looks awesome. Guys, look at these two. It's hard for me to say which one I like better, actually, and that's rare. I usually just like one better than the other. I don't actually know with this one. You tell me which one you guys like the better in the comment section below. I might like the SR standard a little bit better, but man, this full art or borderless alt art or whatever looks really nice. Okay, here's the other card I was talking about. I had seen this card. It is a 5-cost, 6,000 power Don Quixote Rosinante. So it is a Navy Don Quixote Pirates type character, and the effect is on play, you may trash 1 event from your hand to draw 2 cards. Okay, so effect, on play, trash an event card, draw 2 cards. Now it's all starting to come together. It's all starting to come together. If we can get some good purple cards to use in the deck, then we're going to be able to pull them back with cards like Senor Pink and cards like, where was the other one? And cards like Violet. And now let me go back to where we were. And this guy's going to be able to get them back later, right? Or excuse me, he's also going to be able, how do I say this? You're going to be able to use him to fill up your trash with these events as well to get value later. So this is a great card to play out with Doflamingo, of course, the brothers. It's going to be Dawn -1, play out a 5 costs 6k, while you have an 8 costs 9k, and when this comes into play, you can trash an event to draw 2 cards. At the end of your turn, if you have 7 or more Dawn cards on your field, you're going to be able to set up to 2 Dawn cards as active. That's going to go perfectly with this effect, where you can rest a Dawn on your opponent's attack to ramp a Dawn. Really, really awesome effect, you guys. I'm a huge fan of this. Very powerful. If you can combo these 2 cards together, it is going to be gross. Like, if you actually have them in your hand, like, they can combo together, but I'm saying if you actually have the combo in your hand, which will not happen every game, this is going to be a potentially very powerful combination of cards here. Neither of them are blocker, unfortunately, but standing up 2 Dawn kind of acts as a blocker when whenever you have to use it for, like, I don't know, something, you know, if you can use an event, right? You can use an event to counter out of one attack and maybe rest another if you're running like Punk Gibson or something. So you've got some real potential there. Really good stuff. Big fan of this card too. In fact, I kind of like this card better than the Doflamingo. I know they're meant to go together, but I actually like this one better, and I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10 because this is a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter character. So the stats are absolutely perfect for what we expect a character to have while still having an effect, but he has 2 effects. It's not just one. Okay, so he has the on play to draw 2 cards by trash an event to draw 2 cards, and then at the end of your turn, if you have 7 or more Dawn cards, you can set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. Okay, the end of turn effect is more situational, so I will tone it back down to like an 8 out of 10. I think I said 8.5 out of 10. I'll give him an 8 out of 10. I think I give this card and this card about the same thing. I think they're both like right at the 8 out of 10 range. Really good. Awesome. And we got the alt art for it. Looks really cool. I definitely like this one a little bit better, but the action in this one, and this is an Akira Igawa piece. Really good stuff. But I do kind of like this one better. I think it's a little more tame. I like how he's reading a book, but this one's way crazier, more demented. It looks amazing as well. No disrespect to either piece. They both look really good. Okay, next up is Buffalo. This is a 4 cost, 6,000 power, 1k counter vanilla, 5 out of 10. Next up is 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter Pica. This is a Don Quixote Pirates type character with the effect of once per turn. If this character would be KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may rest 2 of your Dawn cards instead. Okay, it's a 4 cost 5k with a 1k counter, Don Quixote Pirates searchable, and it has the ability to save itself through resting 2 Dawn if you have that available. And it does say it is only limited to KO'd by your opponent's effects. It is not, and it's not even KO'd in battle. So I will only give this like a 6.5 out of 10. I think it's a little better than a vanilla, but the effect is actually kind of situational for having to pay 2 Dawn. You know, for having to pay 2 Dawn, you'd expect this thing to survive from any effect, but nope, it's only KO effects, and it's not even KO'd like in battle. It's just KO'd by your opponent's effects, pay 2. So it's not horrible. I think it's a little bit better than a vanilla for a 4 cost. So I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. All right, next up we have Foxy. This is a 2 cost, 1,000 power, 2k counter, Foxy Pirates type. The effect is activate main. You may trash this character, and if the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number of Dawn, than the number on your opponent's field, draw 1 card. So it's a little 2 cost, 2k counter that can draw you a card potentially. Solid. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. This is just a very average, like mediocre 2k counter in my opinion. It can, it can potentially draw you a card for 2, but it's mainly going to be a 2k counter, I think, most of the time. Okay, next up we have Baby 5. This is a 3 cost, 1,000 power, 2k counter. Okay, 2k counter, guys. Don Quixote Pirates. It has an on-play effect. You may trash 1 card from your hand, and if your leader has the Don Quixote Pirates type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay, now this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is a 3 cost, 1,000 power card. That part doesn't matter. It's a 3 cost, though, and it's a 2k counter. And you can play this out for 3, trashing some card from your hand, say you don't want it, and then ramp it on. I'm actually a huge fan of this 2k counter. This is a high utility 2k counter. I'm going to give this thing like a 9 out of 10. This is what you want your 2k counters to be, right? You want your 2k counter to be not just what it is, a 2k counter, but also have utility for other parts of the game when I'm not losing, right? That's the thing about 2k counters is, okay, if I can only use the card in my hand because I'm losing and it has no relevant on-play effect, then it seems like it's not the greatest card, right? It seems that way. It's still a very good card. But I want my 2k counter to be strong as a 2k counter in my hand defensively, but then I want its effect to help me out in the mid game or offensively or in some other way. Huge fan of this effect. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, guys. I know that sounds crazy. This is a 3-cost 1,000 power character, but it's a 2K counter with a very relevant effect. It is locked to Don Quixote Pirates, so I might have to drop it down to like an 8.5 out of 10, but still, like that. This is what you want to see in a 2K counter. Really good stuff. Okay, next up is Bellamy. Here's another 3-cost 4,000 power 1K counter blocker for Don Quixote Pirates. And then it has an on block. You may rest 2 of your Dawn cards and add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay, so again, 3-cost 4,000 power 1K counter blocker. On block, rest 2 of your Dawn cards, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Guys, these 2 cards right here I think are going to go in green-purple Doffy. I think Bellamy and this 2K counter right here for Baby 5, I think these are going to be absolutely perfect additions in green-purple Doffy. Yes, they can go fine in red-purple Sugar as well, right, which is probably what they're intended to be for. But man, Bellamy right here, play this guy out on your 3-Dawn turn, literally just block immediately to get value with him, and then ramped on. And if they try to swing for 5, if they get greedy trying to get you to use the blocker effect, just block with it and counter out if you have to, and then just you know with like a 2K counter, and then ramp the Dawn, and you have this guy for the next turn as well. There's some potential there. I'm not saying you have to do that. Make sure you use discretion, use wisdom. But man, this card, big fan of that effect of being able to ramp Dawn by resting 2. That seems really good in green purple Doffy. I'm going to give this card a 7.5 out of 10 because this card, it can be used in any deck, obviously. However, that on play effect in the appropriate deck seems very good. I'll give it a 6.5 out of 10. I think 7.5 is a little bit crazy. We'll go 6.5 out of 10. Okay, now for the events, guys, we have I Do Not Forgive Those Who Laugh at My Family. Whoa, that's serious. Okay, we got a 1-cost event here, 7 Warlords of the Sea, Don Quixote Pirates type. It is a main or a counter. Look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Don Quixote Pirates type card other than I Do Not Forgive Those Who Laugh at My Family, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So it's a top 3 searcher for a main or counter for a Don Quixote Pirates type card, 7.5 out of 10. Actually, 7 out of 10. It does not have a trigger. That's the one downside to this event here, or to this searcher right here. Okay, we'll give it a 7 out of 10. Still very good, though. You can really tell this was made for red-purple Sugar, right? Because I think she has, if you play out, we got to go back real quick, guys. Y'all bear with me for just, actually, hang on. I'm just going to go back to the front here. So right here it says, notice what this leader does. On your opponent's turn, once per turn, when you activate an event, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set as active. So if you leave 1 Dawn active, which you can do at the end of your turn effect with this first part of the leader, if you have a 6,000 power or more Don Quixote Pirates type character, you can set up to 1 of your Dawn as active. So you play out like the Rosinante, for example. You'll be able to stand a Dawn with this leader effect because you have a 6,000 power or more character that's Don Quixote Pirates in play. And then on your opponent's attack, you can use your searcher, which you could search up for a 2K counter if you need to, and then you're going to set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active and get the Dawn card right back. So really, really nice effect there, guys. Really, really strong effect. Big fan of this. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Maybe a 7.5 out of 10 in red, purple, or green, purple, in red, purple Sugar or green, purple Doffy. Okay, next up we have God Thread. This is a 5-cost. So here's a 5-cost purple event we're looking for, right? So this is a 5-cost purple 7 Warlords of the Sea Don Quixote Pirates type event. And the effect is KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Trigger, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So for 5, you're going to pop a 5 or less, right? KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. So you'll still be able to swing for 6 with your leader if you're doing this right on curve. Very solid card, and it's potentially something we can get back later with the Senor Pink or the Violet. Really solid. I'm actually gonna give this like a 7 out of 10. It's a little aggressively, like it. 5 is a pretty steep cost, guys. That means you're probably not going to get to play out a character unless you're later in the game. However, it does take care of your opponent's character and ramps you a Dawn, getting you closer, to your bigger characters like your in green purple Doffy. You're going to be getting closer to your 10 cost Doflamingo. In red purple Sugar, we'll have to see what they're playing. Really good. I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Then we have Little Black Bears. This is a 3-cost Don Quixote Pirates type event. The effect is counter up to one of your opponent's leader or characters gains plus 4,000 power during this turn. Then if you have 7 or more Dawn cards on your field and 5 or less cards in your hand, draw a card. The trigger is add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. It's a 3-cost 4K, but it does have the potential upside of drawing you a card if you have 7 or more Dawn and 5 or less cards in hand. So it does have that going on for it, which is not bad. But 3-cost 4K, I'm sorry, I'm just not feeling it, because most 2-cost 4Ks have an effect as well. So this is a 3-cost 4K with no effect unless you meet a certain situation. I'm just going to give this a 5 out of 10. I'm not a huge fan of this. I understand like it can help you with sugar, but remember guys, when I'm judging these cards, I'm trying to judge the card in a vacuum because people aren't going to want to just play this in just one deck, right? And whenever it can only be included in one deck, I do at least try to mention that. But I'm going to give this a 5 out of 10. I'm not a huge fan of it. All right, I think we're almost done. Yep, all right, so we got a purple alt art here with Uso Hachi. This is a 3-cost, 3,000 power, 2K counter. This is the one on play if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field. You can rest up to one of your opponent's characters, 5 cost or lower characters. Really, really solid card. Great looking art. I'm a big fan of this one. You love that. His hand's up. He's like, all right, here we are. He's got the sword in the other hand, holding it very awkwardly like he doesn't know how to use a sword. He's a sniper though, right? So of course that would make sense, but he's got the hand up. Very colorful. There's a parade. It's like a festival. This looks awesome. A huge fan of this one, and that should be it. That's it. All right, well, that's it, guys. Just to kind of summarize, I think Purple got a lot of really good cards. This Violet will probably be pretty good in the Sugar or Green-Purple Doffy. I like Sanji. I think Reiju needed some help. I think it needed a little more help than the Vinsmoke Sanji and the Clone Soldiers, though. I think it needs something else, but we'll have to see. Sometimes one card is the only difference you need to make for a deck to become viable. The Sugar Searcher here, very solid. This was needed in Green-Purple Doffy anyway. It will be used. It can be used in Red Purple or Green Purple Doffy. This incredible 2K counters for Don Quixote Pirates in OP10. The Giolla, Senor Pink, awesome, cool, awesome picture. Coolest picture I think in the entire set so far for me. Coolest, not the best picture, but the coolest one. We'll take it. Not this one though. The other one. Vanilla. Not a huge fan of Fighting Fish. Treble's kind. We'll have to see what people can do with this. I guess save some blockers, or not save blockers. Save some searchers and things like that, and the green sugar seems okay, not too bad. This 8-cost Doflamingo and this 5-cost Rosinante, awesome combo here, match made in heaven. Can't wait to try this out. I'm just kind of going through these real quick, guys. Pica was a little underwhelming for me. I'm not a huge fan of it. Foxy, great 2K counter. That'll go right in the Foxy Pirates decks. Baby 5, great utility 2K counter, going right in any Doflamingo deck, I'm sure, or any Don Quixote Pirates deck, I'm sure. Bellamy, solid blocker with a great potential upside. And then, of course, the event package was pretty good as well. Nice searcher, nice removal. And this one was kind of mid, though. I'm not going to lie. This one was, I don't know about that one. Okay. All right, good stuff. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Let's hop over to the game. We do have one game that we have to go over here of Purple Yellow Pudding versus Blurple Crocodile. All right, bear with me. Trying to adjust my camera. Okay, there we go. All right, so volume is off, speed is on 2x, and here we go, guys. Purple Yellow Pudding is still an absolute monster, guys. When you know what you're doing with it and when it's built right and all that good stuff. I'm not saying I have the perfect build, but I feel like my build's very strong. So right here, I'm going to swing for 6, going to ramp a Dawn. We show a Sparrow and a Pudding. We're going to play out the Viola, setting our cards back. Now this guy cannot slow down my ramp to 8. He cannot stop me from ramping. He attacks into me. He knows I have a Parasparrow on top of my life unless he was not paying attention. I cheat out the Parasparrow, and here we go. I'm going to swing for 5, ramp a Dawn, set these 2 as active, or, turn my top 2 life cards face up. I'm going to play out the Katakuri, put the Dawn on Parasparrow, swing for 6. He's going to swing for 5 and a 5. I'm actually going to counter out aggressively here and say, dude, I'm not just ramping to 10, which I am. I'm ramping to 10, but we're not just doing that. We're swinging 5, swinging 7, and then playing out a Charlotte Linlin, and then we have a blocker, and we're going to say your turn. This guy is in a very tough position now. He probably is running Red Rocks since he does have, we'll block the 12 and the 7 there. He's probably running Red Rocks since he's running Blurple Croc. Okay, swing 6. Yep. Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. Even better in this situation, in my opinion. We'll swing 5 into 1. He lets it go. We'll swing 12 into 5. He could block here and get a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger back with the Miss All Sunday. I'm going to play out the 10 cost Kaido Linlin. And your turn. This card is a monster. He has to remove that with Gum Gum Red Rock. Swing 7 into 5 here. I could counter out of this, and I might have to. Let's see what happens here. I decide to take it, which was a little bit greedy. We're going to swing for 12. He has one Dawn active. I do believe we have seen a Oh Come My Way, just to give everybody a heads up. Okay, he is going to fully counter out just to get cards out of hand to start using his leader effect to draw cards. Now we're going to do a top 5 search, get the 9 cost Linlin, return a Dawn, trash a card from my hand, probably trash the Mr. 2. We'll bounce that card to life. We'll swing for 5. Your turn. They counter out. That's fine with me because I'm actually more scared of the Miss All Sunday than anything. He is going to do a bunch of draw 2, trash 2 stuff, or draw 2, trash 1 with the Mr. 1 Dawes Bones. He's going to attack in, but guess what? We're going to swing for 9. We're going to swing for 12. And that should be it. Okay, yeah, I don't think there's any way to get out of that unless he got some crazy trigger from that, or excuse me, crazy search from the, or not search, but draw from the effect with the leader. But the way that turn was going to go, guys, was like, okay, even if he somehow could have gotten out of it, I was going to swing, you know, I should have swung 5, 9, 12, and then I was just going to play out another Linlin and just throw a card back to life. I was going to throw the big boy, the Dawes Bones, back to life, gain a life, and your turn. And I'm sitting on a 2K, a 0, and a 0, and then I was going to play out the pudding end of turn to do another search. So that's kind of how I think, I think that's the best way to play pudding. It just builds up and builds up and builds up. I would try not to get impatient unless you absolutely have to go for lethal because you're going to lose or something. So really good stuff there. All right, that was a quick game, just a fun one. Just a quick fun game on the sim of Purple Yellow Pudding. Here it is. Now, real quick, before I forget, I am going to type up event and look at purple just so we can... Excuse me. We'll look at some cards in a minute here. Excuse me, guys. Got the hiccups. So we'll look at this before we're done to kind of see some other potential cards that we can play in anything running purple Don Quixote Doflamingo Pirates cards, or Don Quixote Pirates cards. Excuse me. Okay, so here's the pudding list. I've been running this for a while. There's not a whole lot to talk about. I have not changed it. I prefer the 3-cost Sparrows because this is pressure. I prefer the Satoris because I want them to be punished for attacking into me. So that way, not only does it, you know, deter them from attacking into me, which I don't care about, right? Like if you don't attack into me, I'll just set my own life cards back and I'll ramp it with my leader again, or with Katakuri, or whatever whatever the situation was. But here's the thing: I want to get this Sparrow and this Satori into play and keep the the pedal to the metal, keep the foot on the gas. And then I want to curve into these massive, 9 cost and 10 cost characters. Like, they're all Linlin and then a Kaido Linlin, and go from there. So I think this I don't know what you guys are running. I know some people really like to run this event right here, the Hakai Ocean Sovereignty, to help deal with the rush decks. But I have not had any success with this card against rush decks. It does not work for me because it ends up being too much of a momentum dip. I would rather just get these characters on the board and then attack into their board with them and go from there. Also, something that I feel like people ask this every time: if you don't have Mr. 2 Bonclay Bentham, then what I would run is this card named Basil Hawkins. Let me back it up like this. This is a great replacement. It's not as good. Understand that it's not as good as Mr. 2. But it's still very good, and it is better in one way, and you could potentially trigger it into play. It does have that one instance where it's better, which is not much, but hey, it's better than nothing. But still, very solid card. It's not as good as what you'd expect. I mean, this is a secret rare after all, right? But it's still a decent enough replacement if you're really wanting to play this list, but you just cannot afford a card like this, because I think they're like, at the time you're recording this, guys, these cards I think are like $40 or $45. So I totally understand that. This is a great replacement for the in the meantime. Okay, now let me type in events one more time. I have to do it like this so it doesn't I didn't load all the cards in. I don't want it to freeze up my computer. So here we go, guys. These are some cards we're going to look at for some potential purple event additions to the new idea for the new purple Don Quixote Pirates support. The first card that came to my mind was the 5 cost. It's a 5 cost -2, I think. It's actually just -1. So this card is called Ragnarok. At least that's what it's called on the sim. This is a 5 cost main Dawn -1 KO and 8 or less character set up to one of your Dawn from your Dawn deck. Set it in. That has got to be messed up. Set up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck into play as active. You guys know what they're trying to say. It means, you know, get a ramp a 1 Dawn and set it as active. This card is probably going to be very good in the deck, as well as, let me try to bring it up again. Like, of course, we saw a God Thread. This, who knows? You guys tell me what y'all think. This one might be the better choice because it can ramp you along the way. But who knows? Maybe you're going to want to run both. Because, guys, this card right here can pop an 8 or less. The other can only pop, God Thread can only pop a 5 or less. So that is definitely something to consider. Now, for 2 cost events, you can maybe snag Thunder Bagwas. And the effect we're talking about that we're looking for right now, guys, is this one. Let me show you. There's 2 effects in particular. Violet can search up purple events, and so can Senor Pink. Okay, pause and read these if you don't remember what they do. And also, one more little random tidbit. People have asked me, why do I run, you know, such huge borders like this around it when I'm recording these? Understand, it's just because it's a convenience thing, and zooming in is not the best. I mean, I can zoom in, it is true. It's more of a convenience thing. We'll see about in the future. I might make it a little bit better for you know, for future videos, but we'll have to deal with this for now. But I have heard the complaints. I know people don't like how much you know, black space, how much negative space is on here. It seems like it's all being wasted when we could be zooming in on the picture. Like I said, we'll have to improve on that in the future. You guys bear with me for now. Okay, so anyway, back to what we're saying. So the cards we can search up, any kind of 2 cost event that might be able to get us some you know, defensive protection here. Maybe even Gum Jet Gatling. Maybe Gamma Knife, too, would be interesting and help you fight for the board. We'll have to see, guys. You guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. I'm done ranting. I don't want this video to go on for too long. Oh, look at that. I forgot to take this off. So these are the ones I was looking at. Thunder Bagua, Hell's Judgment, Gum Jet Gatling, maybe even Black Bug. Hang on a second. 4 cost main. If the well, no, this you need equal to or less Dawn than your opponent for this one, but who knows? This is like a Germa 66 thing. This could be very cool as well as a tech card if we're not ramping Dawn with any kind of red, purple, sugar, or green, purple Doffy. All right, now I'm done. I'm done, guys. Tell me what y'all think. What do y'all think about these new purple cards? I can't wait to mess around with green, purple Doffy again, and I will absolutely be messing around with green, purple Doffy when these new cards come out, and of course I'll try sugar as well. All right, that's it. Guys, if you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, and supporting the channel, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Now, for all the VV Pirates Playmat supporters, thank you guys as well. I think I have it updated. I had to add another name, I think, yesterday. But big shout out to everybody who's bought the mat. Hope you guys are enjoying that. Thank you guys so much for supporting me in that way. Last but not least, guys, the VV Pirates Patreon page. Thank you guys to everyone who supports the channel. And keeping the dream alive, like I like to say, guys. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, or if I missed anything, please post it in the comment section below. And yeah, until next time, guys. Peace.